The biggest threat to Pete Dunne's epic title reign is realized, and was the big strong boy able to best the resident ass face. Raise your beverages. It is an NXT party.
Support, no DQ.
Dudes, 2 chicks in a stairwell. NXT UK.
Oh.
Support, no DQ.
Welcome everybody to the NXT party for episode number 35 of NXT UK. I'm of course your host, the Rated R reviewer Stephen Osborne, joined as always by the General Jerry Slaughter.
Good evening, wrestling fans.
And tonight, our lone special guest of the evening, we've got the Cleaver Colin Andrew. How you doing, Colin?
Good, guys. How are we doing tonight?
Oh,
Good as well. This was a great episode. 4 matches, my favorite.
Mhm.
And we start off the show with Johnny Saint and Sid Scala in the ring. And personally, I guessed wrong here. I thought they were about to announce the next NXT UK takeover. No. They were out there for a different purpose. What was that, Jerry?
To announce that Pete Dunne will be defending his UK Championship against an opponent at NXT TakeOver New York.
Now, there's a prediction that I did get right. I figured that was going to be the 5th match for NXT TakeOver New York. It's odd how very little the actual GM of NXT UK speaks.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. Sid Scala has become his mouthpiece. It's like, I can't remember all this shit. You do it.
Like, Johnny Saint's just there to make sure it looks official.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think about this segment, Colin?
Well, I want to start off by saying that I think the WWE Network screwed up a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So Pete Dunne comes out, his music hits, and he comes down and he gets in the ring, and Scala hands him a mic, and then, like, 3 seconds later, Dunne hands the mic back and walks out of the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Then you hear Nigel say 3 words, 3 simple words, and there's your match. And it's like, wait a minute, who the hell did he announce? So
Yeah.
I don't know if it was just on my end or anybody else's end, but I had to rewind it a couple times and still did not see it. I had to go on to YouTube on WWE's website to see what the announcement was. But
Yeah, we missed it, completely oblivious, but then when they said the 3 words thing, I was like, what 3 words? So I backed it up, and we actually got the 3 words in the replay.
I'm guessing you have
rewind.
some sort of magical button on there to unlock some sort of Easter egg, because hit the 3 words, give me Walter.
Yeah. So I didn't think I heard Pete Dunne say anything. He didn't think he heard Pete Dunne say anything.
I was eating fries.
But we rewound it, and Pete Dunne said, give me Walter. So, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, this is going to happen.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
But it's going to take the rest of the show.
Walter's not exactly going to say no to this.
I don't think Sid Scala or Johnny Saint are going to say no to that either.
Mm-mm. Too big of a match feel to it.
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I know it's probably not the place to announce it either, but they also made the announcement that we are, in fact, getting Matt Riddle versus Velveteen Dream for the North American title as well.
when did they announce this?
It got announced like shortly after the NXT broadcast last night.
Oh, awesome. So, up next we've got the aforementioned two chicks in a stairwell.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is all we get from the women's division here. We get Toni Storm interviewing, talking about Jinny and Jinny's comments, and Toni Storm kind of says that the difference between her gold and Jinny's kind of gold, because they both like gold, is that she worked for hers, and Jinny's got the kind of gold that mommy and daddy go out and buy you in a store. And so Toni Storm is the hard worker. Jinny doesn't work for anything, although she's been winning a lot of matches, but what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
What'd you think about Toni Storm here, Colin?
Honestly, she's trying to sound like an overconfident champion to me, underestimating her challenger, taking the typical or generic, rich girl stab, oh, mommy and daddy bought you everything, but,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not the hugest Toni Storm fan, so
Well, I can get through.
She's never really rubbed off on me. So
giggity, that's what she said.
Yeah.
So we follow up Toni Storm with Rhea Ripley coming up the stairwell. Now,
thank God.
Jerry, we saw the matches. Would they have 3 matches so far?
Mm-hmm.
And did they?
They just glanced at each other. Like pretty much, Rhea Ripley had her usual sneer at Toni, but otherwise there was really no altercation between the two.
Now, I didn't get your thoughts. What do you think about Jitty and Toni Storm in this promo?
I'm with Colin, but I'm even going to take one step further. Toni Storm's sounding more and more like a heel. She really is. Even though she's trying to come off as this working class hero type, she's really coming off a little too pompous, and that's just something a heel does. The face thanks the fans or says they fight for the fans or whatnot. She's still kind of fighting for herself and needs to prove to herself that she's the best.
I was fine with this up until she talked about Jenny not working for anything, because I'm like,
Jenny's been kicking ass since she's been
She's
here.
only had 1 loss, and that was in the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, she's undefeated, and she's pretty well worked for her opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But we could say the same thing about Mastiff, and he hasn't gotten an opportunity yet. Shit. So he's actually completely undefeated.
I don't know what they're going to do with Mastiff at this point.
He hasn't been around since Eddie Dennis.
No. But then we get Ripley. But then we get Ripley.
So Ripley is just basically issuing a challenge to Xia Brookside because Xia Brookside called her a bully.
Mm-hmm.
Essentially, this wasn't the best that I've seen out of Rhea Ripley. Then again, she wasn't in a match, so.
No.
What'd you think about Rhea here, Colin?
I mean, basically, you nailed it. I mean, she's just, hey, if you have something to say, come say it's my face. I'll take you out again because I already taken you out once. So, I mean, it's just your basic, your basic.
Pretty much meet me by the oak tree shit.
Right? Yeah, meet me by the slides at recess.
Yeah.
So I guess she is a bully then, huh?
Mm-hmm.
We're really going with this. Okay. So, speaking of Eddie Dennis.
Catch me outside. What do you think about that?
Yeah, how about that? So, speaking of Eddie Dennis, up next we've got Eddie Dennis versus Ligero. We knew this match was coming.
Mm-hmm.
They have been building this up. Let's see, a promo apiece for the last 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And so, decent match.
Yeah. It was pretty much like a do or die situation for Eddie Dennis. It really was. His first match from being his self-imposed exile that he was on, and he needed to win this match to start reestablishing any credibility in any way,
worth
shape,
shit
or
if
form.
you can't beat Ligero here for real.
No. Well, Ligero's one of those types that's been, I guess you could say, on a roll. He's got more wins than he does losses.
Just barely, I think.
Yeah,
but
yeah, just barely. But he's coming off 2 big wins against Joseph Connors. So.
Yeah, that's true. Before I break down the match, I've got several spots. Not all the spots in the match, because there was a lot of shit in that match. Just not really worth writing down, because it's the same shit you see out of Ligero every week.
Colin will take care of it.
Yeah. Let's hear some of Colin's notes.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Ligero works on the left knee and the leg of Dennis in the beginning of the match, and then he gets that tilt-a-whirl facebuster, and Dennis goes for the tilt-a-whirl facebuster, but Ligero lands on his feet. I don't know. Ligero to me is like the British little Kalisto. I don't know. I can't stand him. But I hate his mask. It's just
too much.
I can't do it. It's too much. But I mean,
he's taking that bull elsewhere.
Right. Ligero hits that the slingshot stunner and gets a 2 count. I mean, it was a pretty solid back and forth match from what I saw and what notes I have down. There was the spot where Ligero dives outside and ends up favoring his ankle after the springboard splash. And then, of course, that's like the downfall of everything right there.
Yep.
Before he gets hit with the superflex, and then the severed bridge, and then the
Flat stop driver.
the next spot driver down for the win. I mean, it was a decent
Next
match.
stop,
It wasn't my favorite, but I'm glad to see Eddie Dennis picked up the win because he needed it.
Mm-hmm.
Linguero, what was it? Didn't he just beat Connors?
Twice.
Yeah. So, I mean, he got the affordability to take the loss there.
Yeah, I don't have the spot with the selling of the ankle, but I do remember there was a spot where he was selling a head wound, I guess. 'Cause
Yeah.
Eddie Dennis hits him with his elbow in the corner that didn't look quite so devastating the first time around, but I went back and watched it again, and it's like, yeah, he might have knocked him for a loop there because he either acting or he was out cold for a few seconds as he went down. But I've got the slingshot stunner spot. Dennis had this swinging Uranagi into the apron, like they're on the outside. But then Ligero comes to the outside from the ring over the top rope into a springboard fucking hurricane, or a slingshot over the top rope hurricane rana.
Yeah.
Crazy.
See, that one should be called crazy for Ligero.
And then he had that springboard splash for the near fall, and I guess this is where you say he was favoring the leg. But then Dennis catches him up top, and he does this stalling middle rope superplex.
Yeah.
That was almost a brainbuster, as you called it.
I couldn't say brainbuster, brainbuster, brainbuster. And then
But the way he held him, he didn't hold him vertical. He held him at about an 80-degree angle.
Yeah.
Maybe even 75.
Which makes it even more impressive, the fact that he was able to keep him at that
That
angle.
was crazy.
Yeah.
And then off of that, we saw the severed bridge and the next stop driver for the pinfall, and thank God.
Yes.
Because he needed something, otherwise his credibility is gone.
Yeah. So, where do we want to see Eddie Dennis go from here? Since he's picked up another victory, where do you think he should go from here, Colin? Who do you think he should go after?
That's a good question. Cassius Ohno would be cool.
Oh, that'd be an interesting feud, or at least a one-off match.
Well, we'll talk about why that's not the best option later, because
I like your idea that we were talking about, and that's why I brought it up.
He needs a few more wins over people that are just mid card that he can go out there like this and win a few matches. But then on a bigger event, he needs to go after Mandrews. And I was thinking that one of his wins would be over like Flash Morgan Webster, and maybe he would lay in some shit after the match, an after-match beatdown, and then that's when Mandrews comes out, and then this leads into finally he goes after one of the guys he talked about in his initial 2 or 3 promo videos before he came in.
Yes.
The two guys he had the biggest problem with, he hasn't addressed at all.
Because I love the idea of them flashing back in black and white of him his first promos with the company, even though it was less than a year ago.
By the time they get around to him feuding with Mandrews and Pete Dunne,
somebody
will turn. Somebody will be a heel or he'll be a babyface, and they won't be able to do it.
Yeah.
Fucking jeez. Get to it already.
Well,
at least Mandrews is completely mid-card right now.
At least Mandrews right now is going after Noam Dar. That's where Mandrews is right now. But that's going to end very, very quickly.
So up next, we get a video promo at the gym. We've got Amir Jordan talking to Kenny Williams, trying to get him to ask for a tag team title match since they've got 2 wins in a row. And Kenny Williams is like, why are you always asking me for stuff?
Yeah.
It's like, you're always asking me to dance. Now you want me to get us a title match. He's like, I tell you what, I'm going to ask you to do one of these. And he does one of these like super pull-ups where he jumps up there and pulls himself all the way up and all the way back down. He's like, I'll give you a week to train, and if you can do that, then we'll see about it.
And what follows is probably the 30 seconds of the funniest video we've seen on NXT UK so far.
My note here is this period comedy.
Yes.
This is great. Watching Amir Jordan work his way training, trying to get up At one point, he runs up to it, completely slips off of it, and you don't see where he hits. Which is
flies off
bad.
screen.
At another point, he's trying to bring a ladder over there to get the ladder for help, and Kenny's got to take the ladder from him. Oh, this was just great. This
it was good comedy.
Simple humor, and eventually Amir pulls it off, and so I guess they are going to formally request a tag team title opportunity.
Yep.
For the championships.
Yeah, it reminded me of something you'd see on like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with like Will Smith and Carlton, like trying to go back and forth with stuff.
Oh, pretty much like they're like combating about stuff. Yeah, those are always the greatest montages ever.
So up next we get match number 2. We've got Sam Stoker and Lewis Howley. Stoker and Howley sounds like a cop team. You know?
Nigel just loves them.
Yeah, Nigel is completely gay for those guys. Because they're supposed to be like former models turned wrestlers, and so he's supposed to like play them up like they're beautiful and shit. But he's totally gay for those guys, which is fine. That's his lifestyle choice. It's fine. And they are versing the re-debut of Mike Hitchman, the Wild Boar, and
the Primate, Jay Melrose,
collectively known now as the
Hunt.
And this was just feeding time, man.
Oh, that's
the pretty boys got fed to the animals.
That is the best way of putting it right there.
Slaughtering.
Because these guys come out, and Mike Hitchman, of course, has got that weird boar-ish mask that he's got, and Melrose comes out with full-on ape mask, and whatever he was wearing, he sheds at the stage. He's like, I'm not trying to get in the ring with this shit on.
No.
But this was great. We had some tentative tag team, maneuvers, like moving to move. We had one spot where Melrose finally does the mat slap.
Oh, he was called for the mat slap the second they showed him on the ramp.
Slap the mat. Slap the mat. Finally, Hitchman did something into the corner, and then he gets in, does the mat slap into I guess a clothesline.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a corner clothesline.
And then Hitchman follows it up with that inverted senton that he does into the corner, which was great. But then they did the replay of that, and they did Hitchman's first move, and then the senton, and I'm like, there was only one move in between those clips, and we didn't get to see the mat slap. What the fuck? But this was a pretty good match. I don't have any notes other than the finish.
Well, there, like you said, there's a lot of really cool, like the finish was like kind of awkward looking because it's brand new. But like I also like there was this one part where the Primate Jay Melrose actually picked up Wild Boar like he was going to do a backdrop to him, shoved him forward into a senton. That was actually pretty impressive looking too.
Yeah, but I've seen that done by better teams. What do you think about this match, Colin?
Oh, it was good, dude. I thought it was good. I mean, it was pretty much a squash, but it was a good re-debut for the Hunt. I just want to say Boar's contacts freak me the fuck out.
Pretty much a squash. You can find this in the produce department.
But yeah, I loved the leaping cannonball senton splash, and at the end, and the German suplexes. Dude, those are on point. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like when he snaps, that shit's on point. Like,
except the final German suplex.
Except for the final one. The final one just.
Yeah, their tag team maneuver was a pop-up. Hitchman pops the guy up into a German suplex by Melrose, but he kind of catches him a little late, almost like he really didn't put any work into this tag team maneuver.
Yeah.
But once they get it on point, it's going to look good.
Yeah.
It's going to look real good, yeah.
Well, that was the thing, though. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy that, like, screwed up the Eichner's move that last time and, like, messed up the stalling suplex. So, I'm thinking he's still got some sort of jitters to him, or just doesn't like being up in the air.
How can you tell the difference between Stoker and Howley? I can't.
That's why I said, like, I can't really tell which one it was.
So up next we've got match number 3, Ashton Smith versus the debuting Cassius Ohno. And who didn't think Cassius Ohno was going to win in his debut against jobber Ashton Smith? Has Ashton Smith won a match? I don't think he has.
I don't think he has either.
No, I'm pretty sure it's a no.
They hype him enough, and he gets his face on the frickin' opening, opening credits. But why can't Bartel in the front opening?
Now, Jerry, you called the crowd being behind Cassius Ohno, at least from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But once the match got started, what did you think?
Well, after the match got started, they were all doing that stupid whoop thing that Ashton Smith does, because that's what they do. They find something, they latch onto it, they whoop. But at the same time, yeah, Cassius Ohno looked more at home in the ring here against Ashton Smith, actually showing respect in the beginning of the match, and then also like just his style of wrestling fits him better here than it does in NXT. It really truly does. And it's slow, it's methodical, yes, but it's high impact as well, and there's a lot of stretching involved. And
There's a reason it's slow, but whatever. All right.
Yeah, because he ate too many Chris Heroes.
Yes. Jerry said he's this guy has built himself up as kind of a legend over in UK, and I said no, this is the guy that ate that guy and left him pooped out in a porta-john somewhere.
I was in a Bobby hat.
I'm not traveling to the UK with this guy. We'll go to Canada. There's no Bobbies there that he can shit in their hats.
Mounties.
What did you think about this match, Colin?
I mean, it was a decent match, back and forth for a little bit at least. Then Ono obviously gets the upper hand. Hit with a big running boot and a big vertical suplex for a kick out at 2. Smith tries to fight back, but ends up getting hit with 2 senton splashes, a running boot, and then the ripcord elbow for the 1, 2, 3. But it was to the back of the dome, and it looked pretty sick.
Yes.
Because did he put a discus in there too?
Yeah.
Yeah. The roll. It's not just a ripcord elbow; it's a ripcord rolling elbow.
Mm-hmm. Roaring
and to the back of the head, like you said, nonetheless. And this leads up to the aftermatch, which is where it kind of looks like Ashton Smith is knocked cuckoo, and it seems like Cassius is trying to see if he's okay. Then he actually starts helping him up, and I'm like, nah, he's gonna fuck him up. He's gonna hit him with something, and he gets him up, and he goes for the fist bump. And I don't know if Ashton Smith was wary about.
He didn't know where he was.
Because I mean, maybe he saw the match between Cassius Ohno and Matt Riddle, and the fist bump that he turned into throwing into the ring post. But for whatever reason, Ashton didn't fist bump him, and I guess Cassius took exception, and he hit him with another roaring elbow, this time to the face, and knocked him out. And that's not all, because after this, we had fucking Travis Banks come out for some reason to check on Ashton Smith and sort of chase off any more attack from Cassius Ohno. And so I guess we'll get Cassius Ohno versus Travis Banks next.
I mean, I guess it's looking that way. I mean, I know Cassius Ohno is over in NXT UK just to help out, put over stars, this, that, and the other. And Travis Banks is just coming off that feud of Jordan Devlin. So, I mean, I guess it's something mid-cardish and mid-carder for him to put over, like we talked about. So,
speaking of the devil, no Jordan Devlin on this show.
No.
Because didn't he have his match against Travis Banks last week?
Was it in the same venue?
Yeah.
Oh well, whatever. Look at me, missing Jordan Devlin. Who'd have thunk it? So up next, we've got a Gallus promo at some restaurant, and Joe's basically just saying we need to stay on top because that's what Gallus does.
Yeah.
Talk about a couple of their wins, the tag team wins and whatnot. Not the one against Walter and Pete Dunne, obviously, because that was not a win.
No.
Won't note a win, apparently, is what I was going to say. I did like this, though. This seemed a little different. They're out in a public space in a very close view with the camera, as to not get any outsiders on camera and broadcast them.
It was almost like a small mafia meeting.
Right, it was like the Iacovete family on like Boondock Saints or some shit, like meeting up, talking about a hit.
Kind of like a whole speakeasy type vibe where they were just all sitting around the table drinking coffee and discussing
talking about how great they are and they need.
I was about to say it's like okay, we're almost like we're almost at a draw here. We've got almost the same amount of wins and losses when wins should be much higher. So now it looks like they're going to refocus up, probably take out a whole bunch of mid carders and build their way back up.
Whole bunch of mid carders. There's plenty of jobbers out there.
Maybe Gallus goes after Mastiff.
Oh, it would take all three of them, I think.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So,
maybe a gauntlet match with Mastiff against Gallus.
Mm-hmm.
we are on to the main event. We've got Tyler Bate versus James Drake, and I guess this is what tides us over because James Drake is the lone member still capable of wrestling of the Grizzled Young Veterans.
Mm-hmm.
Zach
broke his toe?
Yeah, broke his toe.
Yeah.
Zach Gibson is officially out. We don't know for how long, but for them to mention it on television, it probably won't be too long.
No.
So this was a pretty good match.
Yeah,
Not the best.
I wasn't expecting any less out of the two because, like, they pretty much stole the show in their tag team tournament finals.
Turns out, big difference though, because that was like easily a 4.5-star match. This one, not so much.
Yeah, but that one also had the big fight feel to it for the fact that you're actually going after a title. That actually made it feel a little more important. This was just a fight for the sake of getting two people on television.
I guess. I've got several notes for this. Not nearly what I had for the main event of NXT last night. That was a...
Well, it was the only match. You had to write notes.
Yeah, I had to have it down. So, before I get into these few spots, what did you think about this, Colin?
I thought it was a good tactical match between these two. We started off with Tyler Bate taking down James Drake with a waist lock. Excuse me.
That's a tough one.
I know. Oh my god. my dyslexia was just like, nope, we're not letting you do this.
Not today, buddy.
Not
try it
today.
again. Drake responds with the head scissors escape, leading to a standoff in the center of the ring. That's always fun. He breaks down into a collar and elbow tie-up. Drake applies a wrist lock and hoists him up into the air, but it applies an armbar in the air, but Bate reverses it and hits a drop kick and applies a side headlock and takes him down to the canvas. I mean, it breaks down from there a little bit into the because after that Drake goes for the leapfrog, but he counters it into an airplane spin, but then gets really
wait. What goes up must go around.
Yeah, who was it? Big
Nigel.
Joseph.
Big.
He said, as they always say, what goes up must go around. And I'm like,
No one ever
says that.
Ever.
Ever.
I've never heard that. I'm 30 years old. I've never heard that.
I've thrown shit up in the air before. It's never just spun and stayed there suspended. It just doesn't happen. Bate gets turned to the outside, and you can see he's favoring his lower back, and Drake sees that, so he throws him back first in the barricade. And that's when he starts applying the nerve hold and transfers it into the key lock, and then hits the gut wrench suplex for a 2 count. Again, he's working on his back with a forearm, and then into a rear chin lock.
Yeah, I think the back spot comes from where he knocks Tyler Bate off the top rope, and he lands on the outside. Like that was a brutal landing. I'm sure he's fine, but it looked brutal.
Yeah. I mean, it was a back and forth. It was a real good match, honestly. I mean, I was happy with how it ended. We ended up hitting Tyler Bate. He ducked because Drake goes for a 450 splash. The Bate ducks and hits an exploder suplex into the turnbuckle, and then he hits his corkscrew. How do you pronounce this? It's a corkscrew.
Senton. It's called the spiral tap.
Yeah.
I call it the mustache twirl.
It's almost an inverted starship pain.
Yeah.
Cause he jumps off front ways and does the twist into a senton, and he almost lands it like a splash, but whatever.
Yeah, it's like a plancha or something. I don't know, but it was a good match between the two.
Did you take any notes for it?
I did. I just like read them all, dude.
I was about to say.
Yeah, that was spot for
That's
spot
back
up until I start my notes. So why don't you give us your take before I drop the rest of the match up to the end?
It was neato.
It was neato.
It's pretty much like the match that we expected out of the two, and his 450 splash off the top rope, yes, it's always looking impressive, and the fact that he landed on his feet, that must have hurt like a bitch.
So bad.
That hurt my knees just sitting there watching it. So
the match picks up when Bate starts going for these running shooting star presses. He misses the first one because Drake rolls out of the way, but he lands on his feet, hits a second one. That was great. It didn't hit it perfect, and then at one point Drake catches Tyler off of a tilt-a-whirl head scissors. Right? He catches him, holds him for the tombstone, and then fucking throws him out for a face plant.
Love that.
Near fall. And then Drake hits an enziguri, right? Then throws Bate to the ropes where he Peter Pans off. That's what I call the way
it's a Peter Pan.
He springs off the ropes off his shoulders or whatever. Because because arms out like he's flying, but head down. Anyway, he hits that clothesline and goes for the Tyler driver, and it's countered into a grit your teeth for the near fall. And this is where he thinks he can go for the 450. And does not hit it.
Grit your teeth is just awesome looking. I know it's not really like your best finisher, but he nails it. It's like one of the best drop kicks into a corner I think I've ever seen.
I don't know. Daniel Bryan will nail like 3 of those in a row. Just saying.
So it's the best one I've seen NXT UK on this past hour of television.
So this is definitely the main event because this is not the end of the show. We go backstage and we see Johnny Saint and Sid Scala talking to Walter. By the time the cameraman catches up, Walter's gone. And he's like, what were you talking about Walter about? And again, Johnny Saint passes the mic to Sid Scala. Here, you remember the lines. Say 'em.
It's like I've already forgotten that dude's name. Help me out here.
It took the whole show, but it is now official. We are going to get Walter versus Pete Dunne for the the WWE UK Championship at NXT TakeOver New York.
Every group that I've been in, every chat that I've been involved in, any stream or any thread, I've been pushing for that European title to be brought into NXT UK. Any chance I get, I throw it in there, and there's always those 3 or 4 people in that thread that are like, yes, this needs to happen.
It's the perfect title for a mid-card title on NXT UK.
Make it happen.
And it already has a lineage. Maybe that's the problem. It's got a longer lineage than the WWE UK Championship.
Yeah. Whereas the European Championship would probably actually take precedent over it.
That thing goes back to what, 97, 98?
Mm-hmm.
I think 97. 97.
We're talking about
at the one night only event was
a British Bulldog, wasn't it?
Yes. British Bulldog versus Shawn Michaels.
Very good.
Oh, it wasn't long ago that I watched the entire year of 97.
Oh, that's right.
It's
still all fresh in your mind.
8 months, it's not too fresh. But anyway. So, that brings us to the end of the main event. And around these parts on the NXT party, we rate the show with good old-fashioned NXT.
Thank you, Steph in Orlando, for sending us these awesome Union Jack
Steph
mugs.
Lee, thank you. These mugs, courtesy of Epcot Center, I believe.
Yes.
So, a long overdue shout out to Steph Lee. And speaking of shout outs, our special guest goes first.
Yes.
Out of 5 spots of NXT, sir, how many does the Cleaver rate this match? Well, this main event.
I'm gonna say 3.5. 3.5. It was a good main event. It was technical. It wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't anything expected less. For me, the 2 members of the teams that were in there tonight are the hardest working members of their team.
Absolutely.
Yes.
But also at the same time, I think just a singles match, they don't shine as well.
Right.
For some
That's
reason.
what I'm saying.
It takes them being with someone that's a little less talented than them to actually push them up to that much more of a level, really.
So, yep, a solid 3.5 on me.
What about you, Jerry?
I think Colin kind of nailed it on the head there. The match wasn't really anything that special. What would have made it special for me is if James Drake had pulled off the victory.
Yes, absolutely.
So, otherwise, it's just Tyler Bate winning another match because they have nothing else for Tyler Bate to do right now.
And Tyler Bate doesn't lose when it's a singles match.
No, he just doesn't. So
unless it's Pete Dunne.
Right. I was about to say.
That wasn't even a match. That was like an event. I mean, seriously. I got to watch that in its entirety on before the that last NXT takeover when they had the whole stream of matches and stuff playing, and I finally got to sit and watch that match and just wow, him versus Pete Dunne was just brilliant. But this match, it is what it was. Tyler Bate came out on top. Easily 3.5 stars.
See, for all the reasons that you guys said, I was just gonna give it 3.
Yeah.
Spots of tea.
Yeah.
Of NXT.
Spots of tea.
But coming off of a really good show, I'll give it 3.25. I don't justify because this match was everything that we've seen out of these guys, basically. The only thing that I saw new was James Drake pulling off that tombstone into the face buster.
Well, that's only because Zach Gibson wasn't on the other side to deliver the knees.
Well, we saw Zach Gibson do the same move in I think it was
by himself.
The Worlds Collide tournament in the Battle Royal. Mm-hmm. He hit the ticket to ride out of that.
Yep.
He hit his own ticket to Mayhem.
Yeah.
So that would have been cool to see out of James Drake too. But no, he got the bust. It was okay. But that's the only thing new really that I saw in this entire fucking match.
Yeah.
No story. None.
Nothing fishy happened at the end because Zach Gibson's still out.
But I'll give it 3.25 just because it was a pretty good show.
It was a decent show.
Pretty good show.
Better
than middle of the road, I think.
It was very, 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 very good.
pretty good. Shout out to Arid Rift. So, that brings us to the end of this episode of the NXT Party. And this is where we do the plugs. Go ahead, Colin.
Instagram and Twitter, Colin26Andrew. Aftermatch Wrestling on the YouTube is the shit.
Yes.
No DQ. You can follow all of them on Twitter and all that stuff as well. Thanks, boys, for having me on. Again,
absolutely.
This show is it's always a blast to do with you guys. So keep supporting No DQ. Keep supporting Aftermatch. Shout out to Noah. Feel better, buddy. You were supposed to be here tonight with us, but feel better. I know spring sucks.
Yeah. He bailed out pre-show.
It's okay though, man. No one needs to get his sleep. He works and he goes to school and he does all of these podcasts for $0. We're all in that boat, but we do it in our spare time. He makes time by getting rid of sleep.
Yes.
Or Noah. So get well, Noah, and get some fucking sleep, sir.
Yes. Because we have to have you ready for that
he
second.
He is the hardest working man I know.
Seriously. He is the James Brown of No DQ.
Speaking of Noah, who is supposed to be up on the big screen, if you would like to join us on the big screen and help us review an episode of NXT UK in the future, come have a spot of NXT with us. You can find me on Twitter. Just go to nodq.com/Stefan. That is STEFAN. As always, if you just want to find me on Twitter, it's at Stefan R. Osborne, OSBORNE, and the R stands for restricted.
Yes.
You can also find this gentleman on Twitter.
At No DQ General, and also on my Facebook group, Armbar, all capital, ARMBAR, exclamation point.
Right there.
Yes.
Awesome.
Always can call Colin to do that now. That is awesome.
Yes.
I just recently made him a moderator, so he's able to add people as well, and he has, which is great. And we do a bunch of wrestling memes, wrestling discussions, whole bunch of different wrestling news always being thrown into there. Some rumors, some true. You sort it out, you argue, whatever, it's fun.
I post a lot of memes. I post
Yeah.
a lot.
Oh, and the memes are hilarious.
That's where I contribute because I only really go to Armbar when it comes across my news feed and some awesome memes, and then I'll like your meme if you have a good enough one. I don't know. But speaking of Facebook, we haven't said this in a while. Yes, find us on Armbar, but don't add us on Facebook. I don't do that. I try to keep my Facebook spoiler free, and I don't want to have to ask all my friends and fans and whatnot to not post any spoilers on their Facebook.
Yeah.
I'd rather just not have them on mine.
Yeah.
All of that is reserved for Twitter. And again, you can find me on Twitter. You can find him on Twitter. You can find Colin on Twitter. We will all accept you. I will follow you back if you ask me to. Specifically, though, send me a DM. Ask me to follow you. Or tag me and ask me to follow you. And I will go follow you. Just request it. It's fine.
If there's punch and pie, I'll be there.
Everybody will come if there's punch and pie. and free hat.
Fucking god dogs.
You got a free hat. Wah, wah. So, yeah, if you like this video, you should click the like button. That's below me. If you like all of our videos, you should click the subscribe button. That's below Jerry. Point to it, Jerry. There it is. Somewhere between there is the share button, and we ask you to share with all your friends that enjoy wrestling. We don't get paid for this. We just do this because we like to talk about wrestling, and what better way than to talk to more people about wrestling. So share it with your friends. And if you want to join Aftermatch, click the bell down there when you join, because that'll let you know when our videos go live, because they go live at weird hours.
And we're trying to reach 100 subscribers.
Yeah,
and after we do that, if we reach 100 subscribers, not only will we fight a bear, we will also start doing our What's NXT show live.
We're fighting bears now?
No, we're not going to fight no bears. Maybe this guy
really?
will. Well, I might fight him. He looks like a bear.
If it gets
Not the
subscribers,
gay
I think if it gets the subscribers, I think I would fight a bear.
And if
He'd fight a bear.
happens, I'll drive to Kentucky for this.
Yes. See, make Colin make the road trip to watch me fight a bear.
So yeah, after we get done with this show, we are going to do an episode of the Rated R Rapport. We're going to have Colin on here since he's conveniently already on here.
Until he passes out.
This is what we do when we have guests. We shut off the camera and then turn it back on and talk about more wrestling. You can find that on Aftermatch Wrestling. That's all one word, AFTERMATCH, Aftermatch Wrestling. And as Jerry said, once we get 100 subscribers, we're going to go live with What's NXT so that we can get questions from you guys if you happen to be up at like 1 o'clock in the morning Eastern time on a Thursday fucking morning. It's just when we do it, man. It's when we do it. That's why we want 100, because maybe one or two of you can ask us some questions and we'll answer them at the end of the show.
Yep.
Other than that, I think we are done, and we're going to get started with the Rated R Rapport, which you can find exclusively on Aftermatch Wrestling.
Exclusively. I like how you said that.
So, for the Cleaver, Colin Andrew, for the General, Jerry Slaughter, I am the man with so many names, but this time we're going to go with the Wizard of No DQ, Stephen Osborne. Thanks for having a spot of NXT with us, and we will see you NXT time.
Cheerio.
See ya.